Okay, hello there. We are back. We're back with Doesn't Click and the Doesn't Click members. We have Sableye or Ryan and Yoshi and Lugia and Fiona. Say hi, guys, just real quick.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey guys.
So, we're going to go over this draft. Let me just go over the roster. We have Primarina as your guys' first pick, then Cinderace, Obstagoon, Serena, the Kanto Raichu, Silvally, the G-Max Orbeetle, Litten, Corsola Galarian, Stonejourner, and that's the whole draft. Now for Synergy, we'll just go straight into it. We gave you an A+. We love this team, honestly. We looked at it. It was so well balanced. It's, in our opinion, the top team in the draft, or one of the top ones in the draft. I'm sure there are going to be people that aren't going to like that, but hey, we looked at all of these. Fire, Water, Grass core, amazing. You have, the fighting, ghost, psychic types that you would want with that kind of core. You have redirection, being able to stop things with Serena, the amazing support that Serena gets. You have Intimidate with Litten. You just have a lot of different modes in well-balanced offense, and I think week to week you're just going to be able to switch little things like, we'll go with a Cinderace with this set over this set, and that's going to make the biggest amount of the differences that are just going to get you guys wins.
For your threat level, we give you guys a B+. You have a lot of threatening stuff. I think there are some other drafts that seem more obviously threatening than yours, but I think the strength of your synergy more than makes up for that. But even so, you do have some really strong threats. I think the most obvious ones to me are Primarina and Cinderace, especially Cinderace for obvious reasons. But there's a lot of other stuff on your draft that is threatening in its own right. I mean, Obstagoon has a strange amount of bulk actually, and all of its abilities allow it to increase its damage type, or its damage output. Serena is a really solid grass type. It's blocking all priority moves is huge. It has a lot of different things it can do. It likes to run AV, or even if it doesn't, you can run stuff like Taunt or Helping Hand. Kanto Raichu, fast Fake Out, gets Follow Me by transfer. Fast Nuzzle, it's got a lot of stuff they can do. And Silvally is extremely versatile and threatening just because you don't know what it's going to do. You don't know what its type is going to be. So there's plenty of threats here. Your draft grade, we gave you an A-. We thought it was overall really, really good, especially because you grabbed what we consider to be the best fire, water, grass core in the league. The only reason we gave you I think an A- instead of an A would be because we kind of felt like your later picks were maybe a little bit weaker. Yeah. I get the Stonejourner. In fact, that actually adds to your threat level. I think it does work well in this team. I think it was sort of mostly there's only so much you could do with a D tier pick. So and Litten's actually a pretty good one. But the Orbeetle and the Corsola, personally, I found a little bit questionable. I think you could have gotten something a little bit better in one of those slots. I think I might have liked to see a fighting type, like from one of those C tier picks, like a Hitmonchan, something like that. But we'll talk about those two in a little bit as well.
So with all that, we gave you the overall team grade of A. In team preview, and this is basically how we do it. When we look at your team in team preview, there's threats on threats on threats, and not only that, they're not glass cannons. They have good bulk. You have to bring the proper mons with the proper sets in order to properly threaten this team in any specific way. And on top of that, you guys could just decide, you know what, we're actually not going to go Cinderace like how they expect. We're going to go Life Orb Primarina. We're going to support it. We're going to pick up 3 KOs. It's going to go down. Cinderace comes in the back, and we sweep with that. And this whole time they're thinking, oh, geez, we got to watch out for the Cinderace in the front. And boom, you hit them hard with that. Serena's underrated as well. It sets Grassy Terrain and gets Grassy Glide with a decent attack stat. You can do decent damage with that. You stop priority on a lot of things that might hurt you. So, for instance, there's 2 Rillabooms out. You have that. So we gave you an overall team grade of A. We honestly love this team. And just to go into the pros, the best fire water grass court in our opinion, like Matt touched on. Tons of versatility. Like we said, you have a bunch of different ways to prepare either offensively or defensively. You have a lot of different move sets because the Pokemon that you have aren't static in their moves at all. Actually, a lot of them have 4 move slot syndrome where like you want to throw so many extra things on there that you have to omit certain things that only helps in a league type format or a draft type format.
Yeah, I think 4 move slot syndrome Pokemon are especially strong in
Yes.
draft league because you're not just trying to fit everything onto one moveset for an entire metagame. You can pick and choose what you want, so those are quite a bit stronger. And I think something that adds to your versatility is the fact that you don't really have any obvious combinations. Like if you see something like a Whimsicott Cobalion on somebody's draft, you know that that's a pair that's going to come out fairly often. You know what it does. With you guys, I can see a lot of these Pokemon pairing up with each other in many different ways. So I think that really adds to the strength of your synergy and versatility. Your opponents are often not going to be able to predict your leads or maybe even predict what you bring to the match at all.
Well, we also thought your strategy in the first 5 rounds was great. I mean, it basically touches back to everything that we were saying. You have so much there with the redirection with Raichu. Follow Me is great. We've actually seen a lot of teams that have struggled with grabbing redirection and have actually kind of pigeonholed themselves into only having like a Rage Powder user or something like that, which is good, but it's obvious that Follow Me is much better because it can't be countered by something like Safety Goggles. So to see that you guys in the 5th round were able to get such a coveted prize in the Kanto Raichu was just like, it really topped off those top 5 rounds where it's like, wow, you not only got a top A type, you got, in my opinion, I had on my top 10, regular Cinderace was in the top 10. I think it was rated number 7 for me, where the G-Max was rated at like number 3. So you got a top S tier, a top A tier, and on top of that, one of the best grass types in the format as well, because there's not really a lot that aren't going to cost S tier points like Rillaboom. So when you look at this, it's just like, man, not only did you get the best in the tiers for those fire water Pokemon, but then you also went and got the best in the tier for the grass type Pokemon in the B tiers with Serena. So we love the first 5 rounds of this. And go ahead.
We couldn't really find a whole lot of cons to this draft, but there were a few. We felt that you might potentially be a little bit weak to Trick Room. You guys do have some Pokemon that have access to Taunt, like Serena and Obstagoon. Orbeetle can reverse Trick Room, and I believe it gets Imprison, maybe? I'm not sure about that. But I wonder how you guys might be able to function if there was another team that had some really slow, powerful Pokemon, and they managed to get Trick Room up. So I'm wondering sort of how your draft wants to deal with that. It is we did write very top heavy. I would say it's sort of top heavy. It's not as top heavy as some of the other teams that we've seen in the draft. It's not like you guys picked two S tiers and then like 2 A tiers straight up. So a little top heavy, but not too bad. And then I touched on this a little bit. It felt like to me the Orbeetle and the Corsola sort of felt like afterthoughts. Like I feel like there could have been one or two of those that you could have. Maybe there were some better options for C tier Pokemon, like a fighting type. I think I mentioned I would have maybe liked to see a fighting type in this draft. But at the same time, Silvally, if you really wanted to be a fighting type, you could throw the fighting memory on it, and Cinderace is kind of a fighting type sometimes as well. So you do still you have that part covered. So
absolutely. So that's the report card section of the draft. Like we said, we thought very highly of the team, but we wanted to ask a few questions just to kind of, let everybody get a full viewpoint on what your guys' thought process was with this team and some of the expectations you might have with it. So the first one is, we've raved about this Firewater Grass Sport. We've thought it's amazing, we think it's fantastic, and we think it's going to win you guys a lot of games. Did you get your preferred Firewater Grass Sport? I'll ask this question to Ryan.
Alright, honestly, we did not get our preferred Firewater Grass Sport. We really kind of wanted Rillaboom, to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I didn't expect it after we got Primarina and Cinderace, right? So
yeah.
we had to kind of make a few adjustments here. And then Fiona decided, hey, why not Serena? And target Serena as one of our A-tier picks. And, sorry, it's a B tier, isn't it? Yeah, it's a B tier.
Kind of feels like an A tier sometimes, honestly.
But yeah, Fiona brought that up, and I figured, hey, why not blocks fake out? So it seemed to be a good fit.
Definitely. And if you don't mind, I'll ask Fiona, or either of you can answer, but what was the preferred Firewater Grass Sport, if you don't mind us asking? I know that you said Rillaboom, so was it just going straight for the Primarina, Cinderace, Rillaboom?
Yeah, that's pretty much what we were aiming for.
Oh, wow.
Because I was thinking, personally, that if we got Rillaboom, that's one less grassy glider to deal with.
True. You don't have to really worry about that now, though, with Serena, right?
Yeah.
Blocks grassy glide pretty good. Walls, you got a lot of different ways to handle it. So I think if you were to get any grass type that was gonna stop Rillaboom other than grabbing one of the other Rillabooms, that was probably your best bet.
One of the things I touched on a couple of times was that Orbeetle and the Corsola. So I'm curious about the thought process behind those two picks. What motivated you to get those, and looking back, do you think are you completely happy with those picks, or would you maybe switch out one or both perhaps?
Yeah, so Corsola was my pick, so I'll touch Corsola and I'll give Fiona Orbeetle after. But Corsola for me was one of those things we had last year, and it was a really solid mon for us. So going into the draft, we thought, if we can get it as a C tier again, we're going to take it. Like, why not? And then after we drafted Obstagoon and Silvally, I thought to myself, if we can get an actual ghost type that can be immune to those fighting type attacks, we can use Silvally's versatility a little more by not having to lock it in to a potential ghost type every week. So it just gave us a little bit more versatility with our other mons. That Corsola kind of, rather than being a direct threat itself, it puts less pressure on the rest of the team, kind of thing.
Okay, and the Orbeetle?
All right, so I'm just gonna say this now. I think I'm making the prediction that Orbeetle is gonna be the MVP of our draft.
It's a bold statement.
I like it though.
Yeah, I just think it gets a lot of support options, and with the support of Serena and Raichu already, I think with the options that Orbeetle provides, I think it makes our team even more potent than it already was.
That's exciting to hear. I'm
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys end up doing with it. I'm curious, for sure.
So in the draft in general, if we were to redo it over, and obviously you're going to have transactions, but do you think you had any changes that you would have made during the draft? Any of your picks that you kind of wish, maybe that wasn't the greatest one? And I'll shoot that one to Ryan.
Well, to me, it's Litten. If I was going to change anything, it would be that Litten. Like, yes, it gets Intimidate, but the stats overall are not that great. Unfortunately, something's got to come out of the D tier, though, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
getting the fact that we had Litten coming out of D tier, at least it does something. So, as much as I would change it, I'm not going to complain about getting it.
No, absolutely. Intimidate, fake out, powerful things.
And Parting Shot.
And Party Shot, yeah.
It's definitely one of the best D tiers for sure. So given that you guys have had so much success in past seasons, what are your expectations for the regular season prior to playoffs going into week 1 coming up?
Yeah. So for me personally, I'd say 7-3 is something that's respectable and that should be making playoffs no problem.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get 7-3, I'll be very, 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 very happy. Of course, I think the draft is exceptional in my opinion. So if we do manage to go more than 7-3, like I wouldn't be overly surprised. But at the end of the day, it is Pokemon, right? So prep goes one way, prep goes another way. A bad crit here, anything, and just get outplayed too, right? Like we got some very, very good players in this draft as well, or in the league, I should say. But 7-3, I think, is my expectation here.
I'm personally hoping for an 8-2 record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because normally in regionals, you X2 or better gets the points.
Right.
So might as well be here.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see you guys at either of those scores by the end of the regular season, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with your history as players in the league and with this amazing draft, I'm confident you guys can get there for sure.
Before we move on to the next section too, where you guys ask us questions, I did want to just add that this draft with you guys as the pilots, considering what happened last year, where you guys barely missed the playoffs. I've told a couple other people this. You guys were in the prime spot to be like the Matt Alcinas in Shield Division, to where you come in as a low seed, but because of the caliber of players that you two are, and your abilities to, and your experience in being in playoffs and being in the multi-battle conference, like you guys could have very easily beat the first seed, gone on, beat the top couple seeds after that, and gotten into finals and possibly three-peated. And it was just by chance, and I think it was some differential that got you guys out of playoffs. Like, a couple things go your way, and maybe you're three-peating. So this is one of those times where it's like, to throw a sports reference out, when the Bulls missed the playoffs, or when missed making the finals when Jordan was out, they came back, Jordan got them going again, and they were a force again. And that might motivate you guys, like, you know what, no, we're not missing playoffs this year, we're coming, we're headhunting, and it's on. And with this draft that you guys have, it's terrifying, honestly. We thought our division was stacked, but to see it now that you guys are in there, we're like, thank God we dodged them. Wow. But with that being said, was there any questions or any comments that you had about our analysis or anything like that? I'll let Fiona talk first.
I was honestly wondering if you were gonna ask what our initial plan was, like without the draft order or anything. Like if we were theoretically the first pick in the draft, I was curious if you were gonna ask like what our original plans were.
Let me go ahead and just ask. What if, you know, because not that many teams prepped, and we actually did ask that question to a couple other teams, and we didn't really get great answers. But obviously, you guys are veterans of this, so it would be foolish of us not to assume that you guys made some type of like plan before the draft. So yeah, if you can give us some insight on that, you know, that'd be great.
So, our first, if theoretically we were like first or second pick in the draft, we wanted Dragapult.
Yep.
Like we built our whole draft, like a lot of it was around Dragapult, but like we threw fast threats like Cinderace and Zeraora in there as well in case that or something were to happen like that.
Well, yeah, Dragapult's a great one. That was also at the top of our list. We picked at 13 though, so we knew it was a long shot. But yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
It got snatched up fast. So.
And Ryan, back to you. Was there any anything that you wanted to add to our analysis, or anything that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to point out the threat level that you have at a B+ right now. Now, I know that's strictly based on the draft, but I'm just thinking and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you mentioned a lot of teams have other powerful stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now, our team may not, I think our team is super balanced, and that kind of keeps it down from being much of an offensive threat.
Right.
But at the same time, I think versatility should add to that threat a little bit. I think personally, bumping it into A tier, but I mean, B+ is still a great rating. I'm not going to say anything about that, but is there a reason why it's not an A? I'm just curious.
I guess that's. I was trying to touch on that a little bit when I was talking about your threat level. I do agree with you that even though your draft is not just, it's not like stacked with big heavy hitters. I do agree that your synergy and versatility add to the overall strength of the draft. I guess that's just that's not precisely the way that we were grading the threat level as a metric. So
yeah, if I were to touch onto that, I think that you guys are going to win most of your games, but I don't know if you guys are gonna blow a lot of teams out. I think you're gonna have a lot of 3-0s. I think you're gonna have a lot of 2-0s. And they might be commanding 3-0s and commanding 2-0s where you just cruise and control the whole way. But we've also seen teams in this draft where you'll see in later where they seriously have the potential where if a team comes in and just throws whatever they had last week at a wall, that they'll just get 6-0'd. And there are teams that don't have that balance, like you said, to where it's like if you prep for that though, as you were probably alluding to, it's very easy to check for that. But I think that was more what we were talking about in threat level, and what you're talking about is more like the overall team grade. You know, the versatility combined with the threat, combined with the synergy. That's where really that team grade was, and that's why we gave you that A. But with the threat level, you're absolutely right. It's more because of the balance of all of it. And if hopefully that kind of explains a little bit better, is that that we see that you guys are definitely going to win a lot of games, but we don't see a lot of 6-0s. And hopefully you prove us wrong. That Orbital might have a couple of tricks up its sleeve, you know?
I would love to prove you guys wrong on
Yeah,
that one, but
absolutely.
definitely I can see where you guys are coming from with that now. It makes sense.
Yeah, but that's actually a great point. You know, a couple other people have asked us about that as well, and I think that's great to get some clarity on that particular point. Do you guys have any other questions or anything like that?
I think I'm good from my end, so unless Fiona's got something, I think we're good.
I think I'm good as well.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, you guys aren't going to need luck this season, but we're going to wish it to you anyway.
Especially because we're not playing you.
Yes, especially because we're not playing you. Maybe something unfortunate will happen in top 4 and we don't have to see you in finals, but but we expect that you guys are probably going to be there. Honestly, you guys are one of, if not the top ranked team in the draft. And considering the players that you guys are, we've been in this league. This is going to be our 3rd year already. We know that you guys are a force. So this might be another year of doesn't click. Might have to put that crown emoji next to your name again. You know? So.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we will, but we gotta do something with it first.
Yes, absolutely. This is just week 0, right? We can talk a big game, exactly. But you know, we still have to play this game at the end of the day. And like you said, prep goes out the window when you start throwing in RNG and crits and stuff. But thanks again, guys.
Exactly.
Thanks again for joining us. We appreciate you guys being here. Again, good luck this season. And yeah. And after this, we are actually going to be talking to the Potatoes, who actually also have a very high grade in this draft. So hold on and we'll talk later.